Hey, welcome back to Brown Divinity. Today I'm going to be talking about some things that I wish I knew before I started my business and some tips that I have now that I'm, about 6 months in and I have a better understanding of what it's really like to actually start your own business. So let's hop right into it. Now, first I'll talk about the legalities of it. I first started with setting up my business entity. I did all my business registration. I got a sales tax license. I did a bunch of stuff, and I did that all before I even started the business, and that was good. But at the same time, you could save on money by not doing that right away, especially because you don't really know what's going to work. If you even want to keep your business name, if you want to keep selling those particular things, how well it's going to go for you, or if it's something that you actually want to stick with. So I would say if you can, you might want to wait a little bit for that, because it's not extremely necessary unless you are making above a certain threshold. And realistically, when you start out, you're not going to be making that much money. So you can just kind of see how it goes before starting to do all of that. Now, I did all of that beforehand, but if I would have known differently, I would have waited a couple months, just because it costs a lot of money. That money could have been used elsewhere, such as advertising or getting help. So I would say that's something that I would have waited on if I would have known. Something I'm glad that I didn't do is form an LLC when I first started my business, because at least in California where I'm from, LLCs cost a lot of money to begin and maintain. I think about $500 just to set it up, plus maybe $800 a year. Every year you do have to keep registering your business entity to, keep your business going, and that's a lot of money. And if I would have did that, for, let's say if I was in California, if I would have set up my LLC, that would have been $500 just to start, and then a year later, $800. And it's already coming up on about 6 months since I started my business, and I haven't even made that much back to cover that $500 plus $800 expense if I would have did that. So I'm glad I didn't start with that right away. I would say if you are not planning to make a bunch of money, then don't spend that money. Okay, so next on my list is don't buy too much inventory. So I'm kind of guilty of this. I bought a bunch of inventory not realizing that I might want to change what I sell down the road. So like, for example, I bought a bunch of crystals, not that much, but I bought more than I feel like was necessary. I also got beads because I planned to make bracelets. But once I started doing my business and getting stuff together, I realized that I didn't actually have time to make those bracelets by myself. So I never even made that, and now I just sell the beads alone. I would say set aside a reasonable amount to have your inventory and just kind of see what happens, because now I have crystals, which is cool, but I want to start transitioning to selling more crystal jewelry. I've been getting really into like bracelets and necklaces recently. So this is one of the bracelets that I want to sell in my shop originally. It is golden obsidian and tiger's eye. And I also want to sell this same version, but black tourmaline and tiger's eye. Plus I wanted to sell a bracelet that is rose quartz and rhodonite. So basically I wanted to have like a protection bracelet and a bracelet for love or your heart chakra. I wanted to make all of those. Like I bought the jewelry, I bought the strings and the charms. But once I started to do stuff, I realized that it's actually a lot of work to make each individual bracelet like by hand. It was a lot of work, and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing this. So I just sold the beads individually, and they're actually my best seller, surprisingly, because people really like to make their own stuff, like DIY. That's kind of how I advertise them now. And in the future, I would have those bracelets made, but what I think I would actually do is have my supplier make it for me, because that's something that I wouldn't have done. But of course, that's something that you really don't know until you try it. And with all things in life, sometimes you like have to make the mistakes for next time. Like, you just have to. But I'm just saying, this is an example of buying inventory and then realizing like, oh my gosh, I don't need all of this. So that's something that be mindful of when you're starting a business. Start small. I don't know how much your particular business costs, but for example, crystals are kind of expensive. So you might need $1,000 to get a decent amount of inventory, or even $500. You can work with that. Depending on where you're getting your crystals from or how rare they are, they might cost more or less. But like my shungite, for example, costs a lot more money because it's more of a rare stone that you only get from one place in the world. Whereas amethyst, you can find that all around. The same as selenite. So just think about how much inventory you have and don't lock yourself into a hole that you can't get out of. Like if I would have bought even more crystals, I would have been upset because now I realize I actually want to focus on selling more rare crystals, crystals that cannot be found so easily. Maybe just one or two specialty pieces as opposed to selling crystals like amethyst, because those are not really that rare, and I want to maybe sell something like citrine. There's different kinds of citrine. Some are just heated amethyst, but there are the rare citrine which costs a lot more that you can't really find. And I want to sell something like that, or like just flower agate. Like there's just so many beautiful crystals that are more rare that I would prefer to sell. And when I have less inventory, I would start to invest in those. So yeah, that's tip number 2. Don't buy too much inventory. My next tip / things that I wish I knew about was taxes. Now, I didn't really know anything about taxes before I started my business, which was a mistake because just like a couple months ago, I had to pay sales tax for the first time because it's quarterly out here in Nevada. And I was really confused, and I actually wasn't expecting to pay that. And if I would have just known at the beginning more about taxes, I would have realized, hey, this is something that I need to allocate and set aside, but I didn't do that. Etsy actually takes sales tax before like you get it. They tell you how much sales tax it is. What you can just do is set aside that sales tax that your buyer already paid for and put that in a savings account. But I didn't do that at first because I didn't realize that I had to pay that back. I thought that they like paid for it and that automatically like went to the state. But no, you have to do that by yourself and enter it into the portal and pay it quarterly or however your state works. Also, if you have a Shopify doesn't automatically take sales tax, so you have to manually apply that for your business, for your state. And that's something that I didn't know about. So on Shopify, I wasn't charging sales tax, but also that means that now I have to come out of what they paid me for the sales tax. But if I charged it, it would have already came from them and I could have just took that aside. So that's just something to really think about. Learn about taxes before you start your business. Watch some YouTube videos, but I do recommend reading a book on it because you really immerse yourself in the topic. And I think books are kind of better just if you want to retain the knowledge. But if anything, just watch some YouTube videos on it. Learn about sales tax, learn about income tax, learn about how to file your taxes at the end of the year or quarterly if you're doing that. Learn about those forms because there's different forms you have to do for taxes. Like, for example, if you are self-employed, I think there's a 1099 because you're an independent contractor. And if you are employed by a job, you get a W-2. So just learn about taxes and what applies to you. Make sure you're saving money for taxes. Make sure you're saving your receipts for deductions. Make sure you're putting at least, people usually say about 30% away for taxes, but you know, it just depends on how your state works and how much deductions that you have that you can legally put. So yeah, there's a lot there, but just learn about that, and I think it will really help you because you don't want to wait, like me, so when you file your taxes and you're like, hold up, I don't know what to do here. So yeah, learn about taxes before you start your business. The government, the state, they gonna want their money. Even though it's really your money, but they gonna want their money. Okay, so my next tip / things I wish I would have knew about was marketing. Marketing is so important when you have a business, and I'm still learning about that. I actually want to take a course on marketing because it is so essential in running your business and having a successful business. Learn about marketing as soon as you can. You know, listen to a book. You can watch videos as well, but I would say really invest in a course. Find a course on marketing or advertisement because that's really important, and that's really the only way your business is going to survive. If you have a great product but you don't know how to sell it or who to market it to, you're not really going to get anywhere. And some companies like McDonald's, for example, they have basic stuff. They're so good at marketing and they're so good at advertisements and just buying property in certain neighborhoods that people love it. Like, they really know how to make you feel a certain way about their product. And you really want to learn how to market your product to a particular audience, because even if you're good at marketing, if you're marketing to the wrong audience, then it also doesn't make sense. So learn how to market, learn who to market to, learn how to make your audience feel a way because feelings are what really drive people to your business. And even if you have a product that 1,000 other people sell, if they like your message and the way that you market your product, then that's what's really going to sell it. So yeah, that's my tip on learning how to market as soon as you can. So next I'm going to talk about what I would do a little bit differently if I would have just like known about this stuff beforehand. So first, it would be to wait a little longer on making my website. And it might sound a little like counterintuitive because you're like, wait, this is your website. But this is only if you're, say, starting on a platform like Etsy or eBay or any of those third-party platforms that put your product in a big marketplace. Then you can really wait on your website. Like, for example, I started my website, I think about 3 weeks to a month after I started my business. But I think I could have waited even longer because Etsy is what brings me most of my traffic. And Facebook does bring me a lot of traffic, but people prefer to go on my Etsy more than my website. So I'm going to look into what I can do to spruce up my website. Maybe if I can hire somebody to do that. You can wait on your website for a little longer. And I would say mostly because financially you can save a little bit of money. For example, I pay like $35 a month for my Shopify website, plus another, certain amount of money per month for my reviews widget. And all these little add-ons you add to your website are a recurring monthly cost. As a small business, it just makes sense to save as much money as you can beginning out. Second, if you are going to start your website, either right at the beginning or even later, see if you can hire somebody to help with the SEO and see if you can find somebody to like find you keywords and how you can rank in Google. Learn about that too, because that's important. You can learn it yourself, but if you want to just like save time and brain power, hire somebody to do that for you because it will really help you. Even with Etsy, you can, find some ways to rank your product higher. But if you're going to start your website, learn about SEO so you can find organic traffic. Back to all that, just to sum it up, make sure you're saving money at the beginning as much as you can by waiting for your website if possible. You can use that money to reinvest back into your business. And that brings me to the next tip, I think the last tip, which is to reinvest back in your business everything you get. Reinvesting is so important because I think that's really what progresses you to the next level in your business. For example, when you make money, put that money back into the business. So after you're deducting your taxes and you have a little savings, make sure you're investing that money back. Like if you make some money, instead of putting it in your personal bank account, put it into ads or save it and invest in yourself by taking a marketing course, because that's going to help your business, because it's going to help you know how to market it. Just invest back any way that you can. It's really going to be useful for you. I would say the best way to think about this is to think of your business as its own entity, because it is. It's its own company. It's its own thing. You want to treat yourself like an employee of that company. And employees can't just take money whenever they feel like it. So I would say first start by reinvesting that back into your business. And once you start making enough money to pay yourself a reasonable amount or just any little thing, I would say give yourself a salary or hourly wage that you want to pay yourself for each hour that you work. Don't treat it like something that you can just grab money from, because you want to be professional about it. And this is going to help you in the future when you want to start hiring employees. And you're going to have to actually allocate money to different people. Like an employee, give yourself a salary, reinvest back into your business. I think it will take you very far. Now, be smart about how you reinvest. For example, I invested into ads on Etsy, which were helpful, but I don't believe it was as helpful as if I would have invested in a marketing course to find other ways, because ads are great, but I think they're just a small amount of what it takes to run a successful business. So like, for example, I run some ads for like a month and I spent like just $2 a day, and it got me somewhere kind of, but like I feel like all that money I reinvested, I didn't really make anything from it. I just was kind of like paying for ads, paying for people to buy from me, but not really making anything back. Basically breaking even. Of course, it was good because it got me more sales, which ranked me higher. It got me more exposure. So now people know who I am, but I just feel like there's better ways to reinvest than just running ads. But that's up to you to discover what's best for you and your business. So those are all my points for today's video. Just to take away, basically start small. Don't buy too much inventory. You don't have to do every little thing at once unless you're making big bank. Educate yourself, invest in yourself, invest in your business, learn about taxes. That's like really important. Learn about taxes, learn about how to market, hire help if you can. If you have enough money to hire a virtual assistant, do that, because that can really help you with things such as social media, but that can be a separate video. Even though I don't particularly participate in social media, it's something that is important that I would like to get into. And also, lastly, focus on growth and not money. Now, I know a lot of us are struggling and like we need extra money. Like that money, we really got to pay bills. We really got to use that. And like that's fine, because even I had to do that at one point. I would say make your focus for starting this business not on money. And that's like really hard to say because money like kind of drives everything. But focus on the growth of your business, the health of your business. Maybe like treat it like a baby, like a kid, you know? You don't want to just tell it, make money. You want to focus on like teaching it to grow and stuff. But like focus on how you can grow your business, how you can reach more people, how you can create a statement and create a brand. And I would say if you do that, the money will come along with it. That's all that I have today. Thanks so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you want more content. I will be posting weekly from now on. Comment down below. Comment if you have any ideas that you suggest yourself to other people, your experience with that, and what's something that you wish you would have known, because like you can really help somebody else who's starting a business. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.